Torah portion, Shimini, Atzeret. It is Deuteronomy 14:22, and it goes through Deuteronomy 16:17. So let's get started. You shall tithe without fail all the yield of your grain that the field brings forth year by year. And you shall eat before Yahovah your Elohim in the place where he chooses to make his name dwell, the tithe of your grain, and your new wine, and your oil, and of the firstlings of your herds, and your sheep, so that you learn to fear Yahovah your Elohim always. But when the way is too long for you, so that you are not able to bring forth the tithe, or when the place where Yahovah your Elohim chooses to put his name is too far from you, when Yahovah your Elohim is blessing you, then you shall give it in silver, and shall take the silver in your hand, and go to the place which Yahovah your Elohim chooses. And you shall use the silver for whatever your being desires, for cattle or sheep, for wine or strong drink, for whatever your being desires. And you shall eat there before Yahovah your Elohim, and you shall rejoice, you and your household. And do not forsake the Levite who is within your gates, for he has no part nor inheritance with you. At the end of every third year you bring out all the tithe of your increase of that year, and store it up within your gates. And the Levite, because he has no portion nor inheritance with you. And the sojourner, and the fatherless, and the widow, who are within your gates, shall come and eat and be satisfied, so that Yahovah your Elohim does bless you in all the work of your hand which you do. At the end of every 7 years, you make a release of debts. And this is the word of the release. Every debtor is to release what he has loaned to his neighbor. He does not require it of his neighbor or his brother, because it is called the release of Yahovah. Of a foreigner you could require it, but your hand is to release whatever is owed by your brother. Only there should be no poor among you, for Yahovah does greatly bless you in the land which Yahovah your Elohim is giving you to possess as an inheritance. Only if you diligently obey the voice of Yahovah your Elohim to guard to do all the commands which I am commanding you today. For Yahovah your Elohim shall bless you as he promised you, and you shall lend to many nations, but you shall not borrow, and you shall not rule over many nations, but they do not rule over you. When there is a poor man with you, one of your brothers, within any of the gates in your land, which Yahovah your Elohim is giving you, do not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from the poor brother. For you shall certainly open your hand to him, and certainly lend him enough for his need, whatever he needs. Be on guard, lest there be a thought of Belial in your heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release is near, and your eye is evil against you. Your poor brother, and you give him naught. And he shall cry out to Yahovah against you, and it shall be a sin in you. You shall certainly give to him, and your heart should not be grieved when you give to him, because for this reason Yahovah your Elohim does bless you in all your works, and in all to which you put your hand. Because the poor one does not cease from the land, therefore I am commanding you, saying, you shall certainly open your hand to your brother, to your poor, and to your needy one in your land. When your brother is sold to you, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, and shall serve you 6 years, then let him go free from you in the 7th year. And when you send him away free from you, let him not go away empty-handed. You shall richly supply him from your flock, and from your threshing floor, and from your winepress, with that which Yahovah has blessed you with. Give to him. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Mitzrayim, and Yahovah your Elohim ransomed you. Therefore I am commanding you this word today. And it shall be, when he says to you, I do not go away from you, because he loves you in your house, because it is good with him to be with you, then you shall take an awl and thrust it through his ear to the door, and he shall be your servant forever. Do the same to your female servant. Let it not be hard in your eyes when you send them away free from you, for he has been worth a double hired servant in the serving of you, in serving you 6 years. And Yahovah your Elohim shall bless you in all that you do. Set apart to Yahovah your Elohim all the firstborn males that come from your herd and your flock. Do no work with the firstborn of your herd, nor shear the firstborn of your flock. You and your neighbor are to eat it before Yahovah your Elohim year by year in the place which Yahovah chooses. But when there is any defect in it, lame or blind, or has any evil defect, do not slaughter it to Yahovah your Elohim. Eat it within your gates, the unclean and the clean alike, as the gazelle and as the deer. Only do not eat its blood. Pour it on the ground like water. Guard the new moon of Abib, and perform the Pesach to Yahovah your Elohim. For in the new moon of Abib, Yahovah your Elohim brought you out of Mitzrayim by night. And you shall slaughter the Pesach to Yahovah your Elohim from the flock and the herd in the place where Yahovah chooses to put his name. Eat no leavened bread with it. For 7 days you eat unleavened bread with it, bread of affliction, because you came out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste, so that you remember the day in which you came out of the land of Mitzrayim, all of the days of your life. And no leaven should be seen with you in all your border for 7 days. Neither should any of the meat which you slaughter in the evening on the first day stay on. Neither should any of the meat which you slaughter in the evening on the first day stay all night until morning. You are not allowed to slaughter the Pesach within any of your gates, which Yahovah your Elohim gives you, but at the place where Yahovah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell. There you slaughter the Pesach in the evening, at the going down of the sun, at the appointed time you came out of Mitzrayim. And you shall roast and eat it in the place which Yahovah your Elohim chooses. And in the morning you shall go and turn to your tents. 6 days you eat unleavened bread. On the 7th day there is a closing festival to Yahovah your Elohim. You do no work. Count 7 weeks for yourself. Begin to count 7 weeks from the time you begin to put the sickle to the grain. And you shall perform the festival of Shavuot to Yahovah your Elohim, according to the voluntary offering from your hand, which you give as Yahovah your Elohim blesses you. And you shall rejoice before Yahovah your Elohim, you and your son and your daughter and your male servant and your female servant and the Levite who is within your gates, and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow who are in your midst, at the place where Yahovah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell. And you shall remember that you were a slave in Mitzrayim, and you shall guard and do these laws. Perform the festival of Sukkot for 7 days after the ingathering from your threshing floor and from your winepress. And you shall rejoice in your festival, and you and your son and your daughters and your male servant and your female servant and the Levite and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow who are within your gates. For 7 days you shall celebrate Yahovah your Elohim in the place which Yahovah chooses, because Yahovah your Elohim does bless you in all your increase and in all the work of your hands, and you shall be only rejoicing. 3 times a year all your males appear before Yahovah your Elohim in the place which he chooses, at the festival of Matzot, and at the festival of Shavuot, and at the festival of Sukkot. And none should appear before Yahovah empty-handed. but each one with the gift of his hand, according to the blessing of Yahovah, your Elohim, which he has given you.